right. And, we all have those jam-packed calendars right now, from baking the cookies to gift exchanges and holiday parties. But then you have your normal things that are also happening, rushing your kids off to their sports or dance or whatever the case may be. So as a parent, how do you hold all of that during this time?
So I'm finding as a parent of three kids myself, every year we want to do something a little bit different, but we don't want to let go of what we've done the year before, which is impossible. We cannot do that. And it stresses me out. So there's, just on a very personal level, there's certain things I'm letting go of. And I'm sitting with my kids and saying, what do we want to do? And this is what we're going to do. And then everything else can not happen because it's not realistic that we're going to live our usual jam-packed life and add a new level of expectation that we're going to do all the traditions and keep adding. We can't keep adding.
I like that. All right. How about navigating co-parenting? It's tough any time of the year, but when you have these certain things that you want your children to be with you for, and it's either not your weekend, your day, your time, how do you do that?
I'm going through that myself right now, but it's sitting down with the calendar and saying, this is what I would like to do on these days. And what are you doing so that we're not double booking our child and making him go crazy? But it's a lot of communication, getting it on the calendar and then sticking with it.
And then how do you do that? Because also I would think that this time of year might trigger some painful memories because if it was last year or the year before, we all did these things together. So what kind of conversation should you be having, especially with maybe some of your smaller children, to talk about these holiday traditions and maybe how they've morphed or changed?
That's a tough one because as a parent, you're still grieving that. And, if that's not something that you wanted, because which, goes into marriage thinking I'm going to end it at some point. It's really just being very clear and saying, this is the way we're doing things now. It's different. And there are things that you'll do with mom and then things you'll do with dad. And our children adjust, and it's not easy for anybody, but I think it's especially hard on the parents who are making those changes and having to change their expectations for what they thought it was going to look like in the long term. But we all adjust.
Yeah, I think too, oftentimes with kids, the high expectations tends to then exacerbate like a bad behavior and they're acting out and they're being extra cranky or they're reverting and crying or whatever the case may be. So as a parent, are we trying to just name the feeling and why it's happening, or are we just being a safe space to listen to whatever they're going through?
I think taking the time to say what's going on and listening maybe to their train of thought is, I thought it was going to be this way, but it's this way. I wanted this, but this is the way it happened. And listening and validating and saying, I'm sorry. It's hard to adjust and moving on and not getting into that really punitive mode, because I think we're all going to be tired. But as much as you can, stick to your schedule so that it allows time to rest and to have time downtime and not jam packing our schedule. Don't jam pack your schedule.